All right, today we're going to demystify two project management tools that are absolutely essential for turning chaos into success, especially on massive projects. We're going to break down how they work and, maybe more importantly, why they're so critical.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Building a satellite, launching a new software platform. You've got thousands of moving parts, hundreds of people. How do you keep all of that from just falling apart? Well, the secret, it lies in having a crystal clear plan and a rock-solid schedule. And that's exactly what the IMP and IMS are all about.
So, here's our game plan. We'll start with the high-level plan, then we'll dive into the detailed schedule. We'll see how they stack up against each other, how they link together, and finally, why this whole framework is just so incredibly important. All right, let's jump right in. Okay, so first up is the big picture, the Integrated Master Plan, or IMP. The best way to think about this is not as a daily to-do list, but really as the architect's blueprint for the entire project.
See, the whole job of the IMP is to define the what. It's designed to stay way above the day-to-day noise. It focuses only on the major goals, those key milestones, and having a really concrete definition of what done actually looks like.
And it does this with a simple but, really powerful hierarchy. So at the very top, you've got your major events, something like a critical design review. Now, to complete that event, you need to knock down several accomplishments. And how do you know an accomplishment is actually complete? Well, you meet the specific definitive criteria. It's just a brilliant way of breaking a massive goal into smaller, verifiable steps.
Now, this is absolutely critical. The IMP isn't just some suggestion or a nice-to-have plan. In major government and defense projects, this thing is often written directly into the contract. That makes it a legally binding commitment. It is the bedrock of accountability. I mean, if a billion-dollar project fails because a milestone was fudged, this is the document the lawyers are going to be pointing to.
Okay, so if the IMP is our what, that begs the question, how do you track the how and the when? Well, for that, we turn to the Integrated Master Schedule, or IMS. This is where that high-level blueprint gets turned into an actual construction plan. The IMS is where the rubber really meets the road. It's this super detailed, interconnected schedule that maps out exactly how and when every single piece of work is going to get done. It translates that grand vision from the IMP into the tasks you're actually doing day to day. So what's really cool here is that the IMS doesn't reinvent the wheel. It takes those first three layers from the IMP, the events, accomplishments, and criteria, and then it adds that all-important fourth layer, the specific tasks. These are the individual work packages, with start dates, end dates, and all those critical dependencies.
Okay, but here is a super important difference. Unlike that legally binding IMP, the IMS is what's called a contract deliverable. Think of it as a living, breathing document. It's expected to be updated constantly to reflect progress, to handle delays, and just adapt to the realities on the ground. It has to be flexible. All right, let's put these two side by side, because this is really where it all clicks. This is that aha moment where you see how their very different roles in the project puzzle just snap perfectly into place. So here's probably the easiest way to lock this in your head. The IMP is the destination you've contractually agreed to reach. It's set in stone. The IMS is like the dynamic, turn-by-turn GPS that's guiding you there, constantly recalculating the route as you hit traffic or detours. One is the fixed strategy, the other is the flexible execution plan. Now, these two documents aren't just related. They're not just floating around in the same universe. No, they are fundamentally locked together in this really powerful partnership that drives the entire project forward. And the golden rule, the absolute glue that holds this whole system together, is traceability. Every single task in that detailed schedule has to trace all the way back up to a major event in the plan. And to make this connection ironclad, they even share the exact same labels. This guarantees that no work is wasted. Every single action is directly serving a contractual goal. And what you end up with is this beautiful management system. You get top-down planning from the IMP, which sets the overall strategy, and then you get this constant bottom-up execution data from the IMS, which shows you the real-time progress of all the detailed work. It's the best of both worlds. And you gotta remember, these documents aren't just created once and then forgotten. They actually evolve throughout the project's life. It usually starts with the government outlining its vision. Then companies will bid, showing how they'll achieve it. And finally, the winning contractor takes ownership and manages their IMS as this dynamic tool for the entire life of the project. So you might be thinking, wow, that sounds like a lot of work.
And it is. So why bother? Why go through all this trouble to create and maintain these complex documents? What is the real payoff here?
Oh, the benefits are huge. I mean, for starters, you get a single unified framework, so everybody is pulling in the same direction. It allows you to analyze the project's critical path to spot potential risks way ahead of time, and you have one single source of truth for measuring real performance against the plan, often using this powerful technique called earned value management.
This quote just perfectly nails the entire philosophy. It forces you to focus on achieving meaningful, verifiable results, the events, rather than just chasing dates on a calendar. In other words, it ensures the project is driven by actual accomplishment, not just by the passage of time. And that really leaves you with a question to consider for any project. Is your plan just a list of dates, or is it a truly integrated strategy for success? A great schedule isn't just about what happens on Tuesday. It's about how Tuesday's work connects to a much larger strategy for achieving your ultimate goal. And that is the real power of the IMT and the IMS.